Last week we swore a lot about kids movies and stuff.
Yeah, we did. I feel really bad about that.
Should we cut down the swearing for the adult movie?
No, Chris. Listen, 500 years from now, when they're looking back at the history of mankind, and it's like 3 pages of Alexander the Great and 589 pages of Sequel Decay, what do you want to be remembered as? Somebody who backed down? Is that how you want to be remembered? No, Chris. Live your truth.
What is my truth?
I guess swearing? Is that what we're going with?
Guess so.
I guess.
Do you want to put some more pride in there?
Listen, you fucking cracker. That was pretty good. Put that.
Hello and welcome to another very special episode of Sequel Decay, where we struggle to get through malnourishment acquired from being trapped in this basement for 6 weeks, one franchise at a time. World building!
Someone send help. Brandon, where are you?
Oh yeah, he's not here this week, is he?
No, our sweet angel has not yet arrived. Godspeed, our dark angel of death, named Brandon.
Okay, so Brandon's not with us this week. We gotta stop making promises.
Yeah, well, if there's a lesson to be taken from this, it's never promise anything to anybody ever.
Exactly.
Never, ever let anybody have any expectations of you.
Yeah, this is...
Never talk to anybody.
Anyway, so this week we're talking about a very famous set of movies for children that aren't called Pokemon.
Not as famous as we would like them to be.
Yeah, exactly. What are these movies for children called, Stefan?
They are called John Wick.
Dicks out for John Wick.
Dicks out for Wicks out. Wicks out for Wicks out for Dicks out.
Wicks out for Keanu. Hashtag Wicks out for Keanu.
Woo! 2014 memes or whatever the fuck.
2016 and...
Was it closer to 2016?
If we make that a hashtag and make that the title.
I'll consider it. God knows we don't have standards.
So, Stefan, since we're talking about sequels and franchises and stuff, why don't you tell us a little bit about Game of Thrones?
So, let's pull back the curtain a little bit. So, we're recording on Sunday, May 19th, which is also the day that the finale of Game of Thrones is going to air.
You fucking moron. You're going to go home and watch that shit.
I'm going to go home in a little over 2 hours, probably. I'm going to watch it. And then I'm never going to talk about Game of Thrones ever again in any capacity.
You're going to tell me what you thought of the finale, right?
I'll, text, it through, pushing cat stickers or something. But, I'm so tired of talking about it. It's taken up way too fucking much of my mental energy. I'm so fucking through with it.
In a word, how would you describe the season so far?
I'm sure there's, some German word that, perfectly encapsulates the feeling that I feel right now. But it's a perfect example of, how character arcs are not supposed to work. It's cinematic blue balls is what it is. It's so unfulfilling to watch. Especially because these episodes last, a fucking year. And at the end of this one, it's okay, cool. So these haven't been the same fucking characters I've seen. Okay, cool. So Jaime's willing to throw everything away and go home to fuck his sister again. Awesome stuff.
Great.
Good job. Can't wait to see what they do with Star Wars. Fuck. I hate Game of Thrones. Folks, thanks for coming to Sequel Decay today.
So,
should probably get this fucking thing going at some point.
Yeah. So, this week we're talking about John Wick.
John Wick. One of the few franchises in recent memory to have just a name as a title.
Yeah.
I don't think that really happens anymore.
Well, especially considering, it's an original IP. I think it's crazy that they just sold it off just on the main character's name alone.
Mm-hmm.
And it just turned out the way it did. I'm really happy about that.
Yeah.
Also, as we're recording today, I looked at Box Office Mojo, and John Wick Chapter 3 beat the Avengers streak of being number 1 at the box office domestically.
Really?
It made $57 million
I thought weekend. Pikachu was going to do that.
No.
I know it didn't beat it last week, but I thought it might do it this week.
Nope, John Wick kicked his ass.
Oh, good for John Wick. John Wick would kick most people's ass.
John
Wick would beat the shit out of James Bond.
John Wick would
snap James... John Wick would snap James Bond in half like a fucking toothpick.
Yes.
Yeah.
So from 2014 to 20 this weekend.
Yeah.
There have been 3 John Wick movies.
3 John Wick movies. Somehow. I'm surprised.
I'm genuinely shocked it's gotten as far as 3.
Because, like, the first one made just under $90 million.
Well, how much was it?
20 to 30 million.
Oh, but it was still a hit.
It was, but it didn't, like, break the bank or anything.
No, it didn't break the bank, but I mean, for Lionsgate, that's good money.
Yeah. But I'm surprised it's had as much staying power. Like, I went to see it, the third one, Saturday night, and the theater was full. Like, I got there, like, 15 minutes before, and I had to settle for one of the fucking seats, like, at the very bottom of the theater, like, to the far left, so I kind of had to look, like, over my right shoulder. Oh, not a great seat. Still enjoyed myself, but not a great seat, but it was just so full. I was really surprised to see that.
I went Thursday night, and my theater was completely full, and I am so glad I booked my tickets in advance.
Same.
I got back left-hand side of the screen. There's me, one side, some guy on the other, and 2 other guys, and we were having the time of our fucking lives. So we'll go through these in chronological order, starting with John Wick 1.
Retroactively known as John Wick Chapter 1, which makes a lot of sense, because I think the chapter branding is very apt.
I like the chapter branding.
Yeah, it's good, because they're all very natural continuations of the next story. Yeah.
Then we'll go on to John Wick Chapter 2. And then, as the poster calls the third one, Keanu Reeves Chapter John 3 Wick Parabellum. Anyway, so we'll start talking about the first John Wick movie now. Stefan, why don't you describe John Wick 1?
John Wick was released in 2014, and it is directed by Chad Stahelski and David Leitch, who would go on to direct but would remain uncredited for this film because of Directors Guild of America rules.
Boo.
Yeah.
Boo.
Thanks for Bohemian Rhapsody, fuckheads. Anyway, it stars Keanu Reeves as the titular character, an ex-assassin for the Russian mob who meets the love of his life and retires. But after she is taken by an illness, she leaves a puppy as a kind of forget-me-not, or a reminder of her, or whatever. Something to keep him company.
It's a nice memento of their time together.
Yeah, and
There's something.
Tragedy strikes! And
when they kill the dog!
Jesus Christ. And the dog is killed at the hands of the son of the Russian mob boss.
May I add the dumbass fucking son who doesn't know who the fuck John Wick is?
Theon Greyjoy. Oh god, now I'm going to talk about Game of Thrones again.
Don't. Just fucking don't.
I'll never stop talking about Game of Thrones.
Shut the fuck up!
Anyway, after Theon Greyjoy kills his dog, John Wick goes on a quest to fucking kill every last member of the Russian mob. And the most brutal way possible. There you go, that's John Wick. That's essentially John Wick. The first John Wick takes a lot of inspiration from, like, old martial arts films.
I'd say all 3 of them take a huge inspiration from old martial arts movies.
I don't know why I said just the first one.
And I'd also say that they all take a really big inspiration from Westerns.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, both of them. Like, both genres.
Yeah.
But...
as well as, like, American, like, wish fulfillment action films.
Oh, yeah.
Although I would argue that this probably has a little more to it than most of those movies.
Yeah. Oh, God, this movie's so much fun.
Yeah, it's so good.
I love this movie so much. I love all 3 of them so much, but we're just going to talk about the first one right now.
I love how this movie, like, sets up the character of John Wick, like, so well, like, more as this, like, unstoppable force of nature.
Mm-hmm.
Just this being of pure rage.
Even though when you first meet him, he's hanging out with Doggie. And
he's Keanu Reeves.
He's mourning his wife. Yeah, exactly. He's Keanu Reeves. He's just cool.
Yeah. And at no point is the Russian mob boss, played by Michael Nyqvist, ever, like, there's one point where he convinces himself that he's finally gotten rid of John Wick. Or, like, comes closest. But every other moment he's, like, very much aware that he's delaying the inevitable.
John Wick is essentially like herpes. It never goes away, and any prevention you try to do is just delaying the inevitable.
It's pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I hope that doesn't stay it. I didn't write a lot of notes for this movie.
Me
just
either.
I was enjoying it so much.
Me either.
And it's really hard for me. I love the way it starts introducing the world in this movie, the sequels obviously build upon more later, but I love how this movie, they obviously figured at some point, there is a huge possibility we're not going to make a sequel to this, so we need to make this count.
Yeah, and I like that these movies have, my fucking phone.
Oh, look who's got a social life, fuckstick.
Sorry, I just have so many friends.
All three of them? Me, Brandon, and Cairo?
I don't know, would you consider Brandon a friend? So exposition in movies is kind of like a necessary evil a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Just because you need to set up, just so the audience has a baseline expectation of how the world works.
Yeah, and I even mentioned that in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory episode we did with the ghost of Chris Penwell. May he rest in peace.
Sure.
Yes, exposition is necessary, but when you start really overdoing it, that's when issues come in.
Yeah.
And this movie uses exposition flawlessly.
Yeah, you know the 2 bits of exposition that I remember? I remember them saying that hinting at what John Wick did to get out of originally get out of the life, and them saying the rules of the Continental Hotel.
Oh, I remember my favorite piece of exposition in that movie is when they're describing how John Wick killed a bunch of people with a fucking pencil. Yeah. And they keep emphasizing, it's a fucking pencil!
Or in the future movies, they'll go, all this for a fucking puppy.
It's like, why not?
Yeah. And it's perfect because, you never feel like you're short on information. You're never in the dark, but you don't know more than you need to. And it doesn't feel bogged down in exposition because there's barely any actual exposition. Yeah,
I feel like if they told us what he did to get out of the life, I don't think it would have worked as well.
I think the mystique would have been lost.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad there is a little bit of mystery. There's even a lot of mystery in when they're vividly describing how he's killed people before, because you're like, you don't know the context of how he did this. You don't know what caused him to do this.
It sounds fantastic.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. You don't even know if it's true.
Yeah. Another thing, the behavior of the people who are not, in the life around, they're clearly used to this.
Oh, they clearly know who John Wick is. I love how the beginning with the cop, when he comes over. Oh, hey, John.
Yeah.
Back at work? A little bit. Cool. Have a good night.
Yeah.
That was great.
I was even thinking, this is especially the case in the second and third movies, but when, just pedestrians that are walking by and they just see, John Wick fighting ninjas, and they're like, it's very much like if you pass, a street preacher on the street and you just kind of, give him a wide berth and walk around him. It's very much the same thing.
You mean every time I'm on White Avenue?
Yeah. But
it's amazing how used to it the pedestrians are. They're just like, this is normal.
It's absurd, but it works
waiting,
so well.
I hope in Chapter 4, a pedestrian comes up and goes, John, over the last week that you've been back, I'm so happy. Thank you for returning to my life. I really want that.
I just want in the next movie, John Wick to brutally murder a guy on the street, and then, one guy's like, he fucking killed the guy!
And then have someone turn around, you must be new here.
Yeah.
Welcome to New York
No,
City.
everybody, just noticed. Oh my god, you're right!
They've been under a trance the whole time it's happening.
Before we get into, Keanu Reeves, though, I want to give a shout out to Michael Nyqvist. Yes. The late Michael Nyqvist.
May he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. He's really fucking good. I forgot how good he is.
Also, I want to give a very small shout out to John Leguizamo for giving the best performance he's given since Super Mario Brothers.
I was going to say Sid Sloth, but okay.
Fuck you. Super Mario Brothers is a masterpiece.
Listen, folks, Sid the Sloth is the only good animated character, and I will hear no slander otherwise.
What about Ewan McGregor's character in Robots?
Sid the Sloth is the only good animated character, and I will hear nothing otherwise. What, did you want to say something more about Michael Nyqvist?
I think he took a really underwritten villain and made him more fun.
Yeah, definitely.
It's that's the thing, is when you sit down and really think about his character overall, it's like he just sits there and shouts at his son and calls him a fucking idiot. Which, fair.
Yeah.
If you kill John Wick's dog and steal his fucking car and try to sell it for parts, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I think he hammed it up a lot, which was really good. He had a lot of fun with it, obviously.
Oh, yeah. I like the moment after Michael Nyqvist sells out his son to John Wick, he goes after Willem Dafoe's character.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
And has him murdered.
Yeah.
Michael Nyqvist knows that he just signed his own death warrant.
Oh, yeah.
Because he killed John Wick's friend. And
that's worse than killing John Wick's dog.
And I go back to the feeling of just complete inevitability that he conveys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because, yeah, my son pissed off John Wick. My son's gonna die. Like, at no point is he under any other impression. Like, he knows he's going to die.
Mm.
And then he thinks he's out of it because he sells out his son, but he feels shitty about that. And then he finds out that Willem Dafoe betrayed him, so that hurts his pride enough that he goes after him, even though he knows, like, and he's never under any other impression. He's fucked. He's finished.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
absolutely done.
He may as well just put a gun to his head.
Yeah, and
shot himself.
And that gun's name is John Wick.
Yeah.
And that gun's name is Theodore Logan. I wonder if Alfie Allen is just going to be pigeonholed into playing these, like, kind of weaselly characters now.
He looks like Caleb Landry Jones. I also thought it was him for a while.
I like that you get the sense of, like, yeah, he's a fucking douche, and he deserves what's coming to him, but he very much just kind of stepped into something much bigger than him.
Honestly, he's just a bratty fucking kid who fucked with the wrong person and was too ignorant and stupid to realize it.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I get... It's the consequence of his action, which is a major theme in these movies. Which is
of course. Like,
reaping what you sow.
Yep.
And we'll get into it more in the next movies, because I think that ties a little bit more into John Wick's arc.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the central theme of these movies is that you reap what you sow.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And John Wick is getting what's coming to him, but so is everybody around him.
Yeah.
So, Chris, do you want to talk about the action in the first John Wick?
Not overly, but I guess so.
Oh, fuck you.
So,
I'm trying to be a professional here, but...
If you shut the fuck up...
You're making that really fucking hard, Chris.
If you can shut the fuck up, then I can,
Alright, go for it.
I will.
This is what I have to deal with, folks.
Jesus Christ.
Every one of the last fucking 6 weeks is fucking...
So the action sequences in John Wick are fucking incredible.
Yeah.
I'd say that throughout the entire trilogy. Like, I think this is probably going to be the only time we're really going to go off about the action scenes this episode, because...
it's all consistently excellent.
It's consistently excellent. All of them are great.
Yeah.
Every fight scene is so fluidly shot and well-crafted, like meticulously crafted.
Well, it's directed by Chad Stahelski, and the first one was co-directed by David Leitch, who I believe worked with Keanu Reeves on The Matrix. In some capacity.
Stahelski was Keanu Reeves' stunt double in the Matrix movies.
Okay, yeah. That's
I am not sure what David Leitch's role was on those, if he had one at all.
Yeah.
Probably did.
Yeah.
But he went on later to direct Atomic Blonde, which was very okay.
And?
I'd almost say bad. And Deadpool 2.
Toxic Avenger 2.
Yes, Toxic Avenger 2. The Ryan Reynolds classic where... he plays Toxie once again, picks up that mop, and kills people.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you. I mean, regardless, both of them are very experienced.
Mm.
And it clearly fucking shows, because these movies all consistently look excellent. Like, I know David Leitch isn't involved in 2 or 3 in a directing state. I don't know if he produced them at all.
I don't know either.
But I know that all 3 of them are consistently, brilliantly crafted, and just some of the best action I've seen this decade.
Oh, yeah.
That isn't called Mad Max Fury Road.
This came out, like, right at the end of, like, the shaky cam fad, if I remember correctly, too.
Well,
right?
Yeah, like, right in the height of the superhero movie thing, where everything is just kind of, like, really blandly shot, and also kind of towards the fading end of the shaky cam shit.
Yeah.
Like,
so it very easily could have gone that, like, awful route.
Fuck yeah. Like, I think this came out either the same year or the year before Kingsman came out.
Yeah.
Which is another movie with very, very fluid action sequences, as per what Matthew Vaughn does.
Yeah, yeah.
For both Stahelski and Leitch to come out with this, like, fuck, it was so good.
This was my introduction to Gun Fu, too.
Yeah.
Which my understanding is that it was more of a thing in Hong Kong action movies.
Mm-hmm.
But it's where basically it's close quarters combat, but it involves guns.
Yeah.
And I think there's more of it in the first movie than the next two. But it's really fucking cool to watch.
Well, yeah, because the next two get a lot more creative with anything that isn't a gun.
Yeah.
And, I mean, more power to them. I mean,
yeah.
Jesus Christ, the shit that they do with the horse in John Wick 3.
Yeah.
Like, fuck!
Yeah. Because I like that in these movies, John Wick's fighting style is very clearly outlined as to like what his mentality is when he goes into a fight.
Yeah.
Whereas he's not particularly strategic, but he is very quick-minded and will use his environment to his advantage, but he doesn't exactly go into a situation with too much forethought, from what I can tell. And that kind of shows itself in like how he uses guns. He's a genius in using his environment and what he has on him as a weapon.
Oh, yeah.
And he uses guns as essentially really lethal knives, pretty much.
Yeah, like he almost feels like the improv comic of the Assassin's Guild.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
He's like the Colin Mockery of this entire organization. Like,
yeah.
Like, if we were playing scenes from a hat, but just finding clever ways to kill people, John Wick would always be at the top.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk real quickly, because we can talk about him more when we talk about the next movies. Let's talk more about the emotional core of these movies.
Oh, yeah, especially the first. Let's talk more about the emotional core of this one.
Yeah.
Because I think all the emotional cores really stand on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, I really love how the emotional crux isn't some woman getting fridged or anything like that. It's a dog getting killed. Like, without context, the dog is killed, and John Wick is like, listen, you fucked up my car, that's fine, but you killed my fucking puppy.
Yeah.
That's too far.
Yeah.
And I really like how the stakes are so small in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. Like, I mean, for the villains, it's like, oh, they're gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
But for John Wick, his emotional stakes are literally, my dog was killed.
Yeah.
And my car was stolen.
Yeah.
And that's enough for him to go berserk. It's not like fucking Taken, where we have to have this big elaborate plot where Liam Neeson's daughter and her friend were kidnapped into the fucking sex trade in Paris.
Yeah.
And this is the plot of the movie, by the way.
Yeah.
A terrible film.
I'm glad I never watched those movies. Speaking of the emotional core, Keanu Reeves. Anybody who says that Keanu Reeves is a bad actor, like, go fuck yourself.
He's really good in this.
Go fuck yourself. He's so good.
I think he's been bad in movies he's clearly not... in roles he's clearly not made for.
Yeah.
But that's literally any other actor.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah.
But he's great in Bill and Ted. He's great in The Matrix. He's fucking great in this.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves, like, he's perfect for John Wick because John Wick is, to use the cliche, a man of few words.
Yeah, he's very stoic.
He's very stoic and brooding, and when he says something, like, he might say a quip, but they're very few and far between.
Yeah, like, I actually really like that. It was nice watching an action movie where not every other word coming out of the protagonist's mouth is either a quip or the word fuck.
Yeah, he takes himself really seriously.
Yeah, and I think that actually kind of adds to the charm of these movies.
Because a lot of things that happen on face value in these movies is very goofy, but it doesn't sell itself that way. It takes itself really fucking seriously.
Yeah, I think the movie is self-aware to an extent.
Oh, yeah.
Like, in the action scenes, it's very self-aware. Some of the world building, it's really self-aware. Even some of Keanu Reeves' line delivery, and some of that, it's also a little self-aware. Like, in the way he delivers that line. You know, a lot of people were asking if I'm back. And I thought, yeah, I think I'm... Like, it's something like that where, like, I think it felt a little self-aware, especially in his performance of that line. But... yeah, no, overall, like, aesthetically, it's taking itself really seriously. A lot of the themes are very serious. And it never feels tonally jumbled. It feels like it balances both the goofy self-awareness and the more serious aspects of the film really well. It never feels out of place. It never feels awkward. Everything feels like it's right where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Another thing I like about his performance is that when he does boil over with emotion, it's either grief or rage.
Oh, yeah.
And just pure unconcentrated rage. Like when he starts yelling at Michael Nyqvist that one time. And in his fighting style, essentially, which is basically kill whoever is around you in the most brutal way possible.
Oh, yeah, because he's fucking angry about the dog. I would be, too.
Yeah.
I love how that's also a really relatable reason to just go on a fucking murder spree, too. It's like, you killed my fucking dog.
If I may.
Goodbye.
So, you've heard me and Austin talk about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, fuck, here we go again.
So, the author of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Araki, says that the easiest way to elicit sympathy or to show off that a character is truly villainous is to have them hurt an animal. And if we're being honest, in JoJo's, he kind of overdoes that a bit. But I think it holds true in this movie. Because if you hurt an animal in most pieces of media, you're immediately seen as a scumbag. And that holds true in this.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. It's like, if his gun is a Swiffer mop and they're 99.9% of germs, and... Actually, no, they're the point... Then they are gone. But then there's that 0.01% of germs that Lysol can't kill, and that's all the trauma that John Wick has left the people that survived.
That's surprisingly accurate. Willem Dafoe's good in it.
Willem Dafoe's good in it. Ian McShane, we'll talk about him later. But,
yeah. The concierge is great.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Lance Reddick.
Yeah, Lance Reddick is great in the movie. But can we please talk about how good Ian McShane is in this? Because he's fucking terrible in Hellboy.
Yeah, this is the Ian McShane redemption arc in Sequel Decay.
This is, yeah. Welcome back, sir.
Fucking awful in Hellboy.
Well, I think it was also because of the script.
Not really.
Ian McShane's doing his best, but what can he do?
Ian McShane is Ian McShane in that movie, but awful character, I should say. He's so fucking good in these movies.
Oh my god, he's so fucking good in these movies. I wish I was Ian McShane in these movies every day.
Yeah.
Then again, I say that about most Ian McShane movies. Like, I wish I was Ian McShane.
Yeah.
I wish I was him.
Which, I guess, is as good a point as any to lead us into John Wick Chapter 2.
Judgment Day.
What?
Judgment Day? Judgment Day?
In John Wick Chapter 2...
Okay, so somehow this movie got a sequel.
Somehow,
we're really happy about that.
Yeah, we're really happy. It did make money. It just didn't, murder expectations or anything.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that later, because I do want to talk about, how surprised I am this got a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
But introduce us in. Take us home!
John Wick Chapter 2 was released in 2017, and it's directed by Chad Stahelski, with Keanu Reeves returning. And in the movie, John Wick and his new pit bull puppy, who I love more than life itself because it reminds me of my own dog.
He's also really good at singing Feel This Moment. Did you name his pit bull Mr. Worldwide?
That was awful. They are forced out of retirement yet again. Mere days? Weeks?
I think this movie takes place literally a couple days after the first one ends.
Yeah, days.
Oh, not even. I want to say
it's very soon.
A day or two, because I think all three of these movies take place over the course of a week.
Yeah, something like that. In which John is forced out of retirement yet again by an old associate of his who has a marker which states that John must perform a certain task for him. And that leads off to another string of events, which leads to John messing with the upper establishment of the Assassin Society.
Known as the High Table.
Known as the High Table. And I think John Wick Chapter 2 is where we see an opening up of the world building.
Oh, yeah. Whereas,
it's not just about John anymore. It's about...
Oh, it certainly goes beyond the Continental.
Yeah, it goes beyond the Continental. And it opens it up to the greater Assassin Society.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, really good world building. There's not a whole lot of exposition. You get a little bit where they talk about... You just hear about the High Table. And, they're called the fucking High Table. They have to be important. Mm-hmm. And you hear that... the guy who hires John wants him to kill his sister.
So that he can become a member
a member of the High Table. So there's obviously a lot of prestige. And now John has to navigate around the politics of this High Table and the Assassin Society. And sure, you're opening up the stakes to what used to be a very personal story, but this movie pulls it off and manages to tie in John's personal struggles, I would say.
Oh my god, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because then it ends with like a mash between his personal struggles and the greater politics of the Assassin Society.
Yeah. And it ends again on the note of John's past coming back to haunt him.
Mm-hmm.
John's actions in the past.
John's actions in the moment.
John's actions in the moment, which will shape John's actions in the future.
Yes.
The entire reason that John is in debt to this guy is because that guy did a favor to him in order to allow John to get out of the life.
Yeah.
In the first place.
They don't explain what that favor is. They still don't explain what he did to get out of the life. Again, good.
Yeah,
good
yeah.
Things.
I don't need to know that.
I really don't. I'm really glad they don't. I'm glad I did you solid, man. And that's it.
Yeah. The only insight we get into his backstory is we get a glimpse as to what he can do with a pencil.
Pretty much, yeah. And it was fucking wicked what he can do with a pencil.
Oh yeah, it's a drawn out version of the disappearing pencil trick from The Dark Knight.
Oh my god, yeah. I still love that scene so much. I actually find it funny. It's the way that Heath Ledger delivers the lines. Like, I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. Bonks his head.
The guy comes over.
Yeah, no, it's like bang down, ta-da, and it's just like
no, because then he's like ta-da. It's gone.
I fucking love that scene. I don't know why I find it so funny, but it's so funny to me. It's always been funny to me.
Which is weird, because Heath Ledger is not, like, super funny in that movie.
No, he's not.
For the Joker, which is not anything against Heath Ledger, it's just the way he portrays the character. But it's just that those occasional moments of really fucking dark comedy.
Yeah, like, it just felt really, like, goofy, and I loved it. Like, this isn't a slight against the movie at all.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of the movie, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, back to John Wick 2.
Back to John Wick 2. Speaking of really good sequels.
Yeah. What I've noticed about, and this isn't necessarily a thing specifically about John Wick 2, but these movies feel very comic booky to me. Like, I could very much...
No, I had mentioned that when I was watching them again with my partner, and I was like, oh my god. Like, this feels like we're adapting, like, 3 really good graphic novels to film. Like, this would be something that Image or Dark Horse would have done.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It feels a lot like something like Kill or Be Killed or Black Monday Murders.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, or 100 Bullets.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad it's a movie, because I think it would ultimately work better. It works phenomenal as a movie.
I don't know if it works better as a movie. I think they'd work evenly.
I think it could have been a great comic.
But either way, I'm glad that this IP exists.
Yeah. What I kind of like is... with the character of the guy who hires John Wick, his sister.
Oh yeah.
I like her character a lot because of the way they use her, where they give her a lot of personality in the short time that she's alive.
Yeah.
And then she goes out in this blaze of glory. Well, I mean, she slits her wrist in the bathtub, but it's very much presented as a blaze of glory. Because she wants to go out on her terms.
Oh yeah, and she does.
Yeah, and you don't learn too much about her, but you still learn a lot about her in a roundabout way.
Yeah, like, you learn enough about her.
Yeah.
You learn enough about her that she's not a flat fucking character.
Yeah. But
not too much to where, like, it's overly expository or takes over from the main story.
Yeah, and that's what I love about these movies,
Those are so fucking good.
There's so much mystique surrounding it, so much intrigue. And you're never going to learn all of it. You kind of have to fill in the blanks for yourself. But that's so much more interesting than they said, like, oh, that's Gianni, whatever the fuck your name is.
That's Giovanni Ribisi.
Yeah, that's Giovanni Ribisi. And she's the head of the high table. And she did it with using this. And she's the head of this family. And this is how she became the head of this family. And maybe they don't kill her at that point. And they drag her out until she's killed in, like, a very... fridgy way at the end of the movie. But no, they keep her storyline very concise and leave a lot of mystique about her, and so you can use your imagination about her, and it's so much more interesting.
You know what?
Way. What?
If they did exactly what you just described, but in the most, like, 70s grindhouse exploitation way humanly possible, that would be just as good as what we got.
I don't know about that.
Listen to me, you fucking asshole. I love shitty exploitation movies, and what you just described sounds like the greatest film.
I thought you said listen, you asshole. I love fridging women. So, are we gonna have to explain what fridging is?
I mean, we've said it like 7 times, and I think we only have 7 members of our audience, and I think they might not know. Should we be nice to our audience? Should we explain fridging?
For those who don't know, fridging is a concept in which, in a piece of media, a female character is killed off or incapacitated or violated in some way in order to further the plot of a male character. And the most famous example, or one of the more famous examples of this, is when Gwen Stacy is killed off in the Spider-Man comics. When Alan Scott, the Green Lantern's girlfriend, is stuffed in a fridge and murdered.
That's where fridging comes from.
That's where it originates.
Let's even argue for Barbara Gordon being beaten senseless in The Killing Joke.
Yeah.
What a charming comic.
Yeah.
I love that Batman references this week.
A lot of Batman references. I think this is the universe telling us something. We're not doing Batman.
We're doing it next week?
No, we're doing...
What else did you like about John Wick 2?
I like, and I liked him in the first movie too, but I like the concierge.
Yes.
I like that. Again, there's a lot of stuff that is unexplained about the concierge. Not much needs to be explained.
No, because it doesn't fucking matter.
He's a really fucking professional concierge who John Wick has a personal rapport with and who likes dogs a lot.
Yeah.
And we love him for that.
We stand the concierge.
We stand the concierge.
Let's talk about how this movie exists.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck did we get a sequel to John Wick? How the fuck did we get a sequel to an original intellectual property in the 2010s?
That's so wild to me, but I'm so glad it's happened. But not only did we get a sequel, we got a sequel to a movie that made $80 million.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it got a sequel, and the movie cost about the same amount of money to make.
About that, yeah.
About that.
Well, the first one only cost $20 to $30 million.
No, you're right. The second one cost $40 million.
Yeah, so these are mid-budget, R-rated action movies.
And this one, the sequel made almost double the amount of money that the first one did.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, I don't know if John Wick is just the rare exception or what the fuck happened.
I think he's just an appealing character. It's why people want to see him, because he has much more personality than his story is much more compelling than your average action story these days.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It's inaccurate, I think, to call John Wick movies schlock in the same style that Fast and Furious.
No. I don't think... Like, I think this is more, if anything, like, mindful, thoughtful schlock.
Yeah.
Like I said, like, it's got moments of self-awareness that are really, really good.
Yeah.
And then it's got these moments that are just so... It's emotionally intelligent. It's got a lot of really strong themes going for it. Like,
it balances out...
It balances its tone so fucking well.
It balances out being a source of wish fulfillment with also being a thoughtful movie about revenge and the consequences of your actions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I cannot ask for a better movie. I'm just surprised that this somehow got a sequel.
Yeah.
Like, pleasantly surprised, mind you. I feel bad because I feel like we're just trashing this for getting a sequel. It's like, no, we're so happy.
It's so good.
It's surprising considering the last, 5 movies we've done on Sequel Decay. It's like, there's really no reason for this sequel to exist.
Fun fact, these are the first movies we've done on Sequel Decay that were not based on pre-existing IP.
Yes, and also this is the first thing on Sequel Decay where we have actually liked every movie in the franchise.
Also true.
Yeah.
Also true.
Yeah, like, when we really sit down and think about it, like, if Hellboy 2019 didn't happen, maybe that would be a different story, but
it did.
It did. So.
Avengers, we all weren't super pleased with Age of Ultron.
And Pokemon, we hated most of them.
So good job, John Wick. You officially get the Sequel Decay award of Only Good Franchise.
Yeah, so far, best franchise we've covered on this fucking shit show.
Let's make a plastic wrestling belt and mail it to Keanu Reeves.
Yes. Let's talk about the ending, which is probably some of the best sequel baiting I've seen in years.
Oh, yeah. The funny thing about it is, it's sequel baiting. You could also just end it right there.
You could. You could honestly just end it right there, and it'd be fine. Like, God, I love it.
It's so good. Like, the first 2 John Wick movies especially, like, the first one is just, like, plain, like, you could end it right there.
Yeah, pretty much. Because, I mean, they didn't know if they were going to get a sequel.
Yeah, and then the second one does set up the sequel. Like, all you had to do is make the movie at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wanted to say, you know what, actually we're good. This is a good place to end John Wick's story.
Then it would be good.
It would be good. You don't really need anything more.
Yeah, like, it just ends with... I mean, obviously, now the Parabellum's on it. It's okay to spoil it. So, John Wick kills... What's the guy's name again? Santino?
Santino, yeah.
Okay. So John Wick kills Santino on Continental grounds, which I love how that's been hinted at throughout the first 2 films.
Yeah.
You could always just hear Ian McShane in the back with his walker going, "Don't kill anyone on Continental fucking grounds!"
Oh, fuck. You killed somebody on Continental grounds.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
What have you done?
What have you done?
That's a better Ian McShane impression.
Is it?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, cool.
What have you done, Jonathan?
You have 1 hour.
Oh, this just turned into The Trip.
Yeah.
Except instead of Michael Caine, we're just doing Ian McShane.
Yeah. And then, as a consequence, John gets excommunicado.
Mm-hmm.
Which means every single assassin who wants to kill him can kill him for a $14 million reward.
Yep.
And it ends with him running into the night with his dog.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the perfect ending.
That is honestly the perfect ending of this movie. Like, I could not have asked for anything else. I am so glad it does not wrap itself up in a pretty little bow. I'm so glad it gets us ready for a sequel. Like, I was fucking pumped.
Yeah, yeah.
When I was rewatching the first 2, I watched everything completely out of order. So I watched the first one, the third one, and then the second one.
Yeah.
So I rewatched the first one first, and didn't rewatch the second one till last.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was rewatching the second one, I was like, "Oh fuck! I want to go see John Wick 3 again."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's so good at just setting up that sequel and going, "Go on, let's go."
Yeah. Well, again, I guess that leads us into talking about John Wick 3.
Yeah, let's talk about John Wick 3.
So, spoiler alerts from here on out for John Wick 3.
Oh yeah, right, because the movie came out this weekend.
But we do recommend it, just so we're clear.
Whole fucking heartedly, we recommend it.
Yeah.
Lead us into John Wick Chapter 3, Cockshot.
Wow. What is that, the title in, like, Ireland?
No.
John Wick 3 Parabellum takes place immediately after the events of John Wick 2, in which John and his pit bull are running through the streets of New York in the hour until it will be fair game for any assassin to kill him.
And all of his services are cut off.
And
that shit.
The Continental is no longer supporting him. He's on his own, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of goes from there. And we end up meeting the church, or the Belarusian crime organization that took John in when he was young. Because I guess John is originally from Belarus.
Yeah.
We go to Morocco and see the, I guess, Moroccan wing of the Continental, which is where Halle Berry and Braun of the Blackwater come in.
And also Halle Berry's amazing dogs.
And Halle Berry's dogs. And
so much dick biting.
And
but we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later. We'll tease you with that. Cock tease.
I fucking hate this show.
Yeah, it's so awful.
How do we have 7 subscribers again?
I don't know. Then we learn more about the High Table and how the society functions. We get a little more about that. We get a lot more religious allegory.
Yes, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Again, cock tease.
Yeah. And what else is there to say about John Wick 3 other than it is another near-perfect installment?
Yeah, it's fucking great. Like, oh my god, I love it. The first 20 minutes of this movie are fucking insane. Mm. And then the movie goes, oh right, plot.
Yeah.
And I just, oh my god, like the first 20 minutes was like the most fun I've had in the theater in a long time.
Oh yeah, oh my god.
Like Jesus Christ, like the many ways that John Wick will kill you with a horse.
The theater I was in just fucking burst out laughing when John Wick emerges from this stable riding a horse through the streets of New York.
No, mine lost its shit every time he smacked the horse's ass and it just kicked people in the face to their death. Like, fuck.
That's what I've been saying about John Wick. He's the ultimate combat pragmatist.
Oh my god,
he uses his surroundings. Kind of going back to the second movie real quick, where that big guy is fucking approaching him, and John Wick is on the ground, and he's been like fist fighting all these guys the whole time, and then he just takes 2 guns and shoots them in the kneecaps. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to that trope I love of Indiana Jones just seeing that guy doing fancy short tricks at him and then just shooting him in the face. I love that trope. It's
a great trope.
I love combat pragmatists, and John Wick is the ultimate one of those.
John Wick is a very smart boy.
Yeah.
But the first 20 minutes of this movie are an absolute fucking blast. Throughout the movie, I wrote this in my notes specifically just so that I can, just so that I remembered it. It's at the very top. So much genital injury.
So much genital injury. It was a previously untapped market in the John Wick movies was
Pretty
genitalia
much,
injury,
yeah.
I think.
And holy shit, they do not shy away from getting hit in the nuts, stabbed in the nuts, shot in the nuts, kicked in the nuts by a horse, bit in the nuts by...
A German Shepherd.
Two German Shepherds.
Two German Shepherds.
Bless this film. Like, there's no hope for your dick unless your name is John Wick, okay?
Hashtag.
No hope for your dick unless your name is John Wick.
Hashtag no hope for dick unless you're John Wick.
I mean...
Watch your dick unless you're John Wick.
Watch your dick unless you're John Wick. Do we have anything else to say about the action scenes before we go into the serious stuff?
I don't know how much more we can say about the action scenes because it's John Wick.
It's John Wick.
Consistently
they're very
excellent.
Yeah, they're consistently excellent. But let's talk about how, like, I'm amazed at actually how over the top they went this time. Considering the first two movies are very subdued, and this one's just like we're going fucking wild.
It's full bore because the other two movies are very kind of gritty in their brutality,
and this one's a lot funnier than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like especially like you were mentioning it earlier before we started recording. Like even like after a fight, they're just like, yeah, good game.
Yeah, the way the society works is that like if an assassin is out to kill another assassin. It's never personal.
No.
Or they try not to make it personal. It's very much like if you watch a hockey game and two of the big enforcer types beat the shit out of each other. And then after the game, they like shake hands like, yeah, good game, bud. I get that exact same feeling from watching the assassins interact.
Yeah, it's literally like watching two men in a bar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, precisely that.
Yeah. Especially when they like get drinks together at the Continental.
Yeah, holy shit. Also, speaking of absurdities in this movie, we need to talk about Mark Dacascos.
Mark Dacascos?
And his, if I'm pronouncing that right, and
his
great performance as Zero. He's really fucking good in this movie.
Yeah, he's...
Like, for those of you who don't remember this character at all, because, I think they only briefly say his name once or twice, if I remember the movie correctly.
Mm-hmm.
That I saw 3 days ago. He is the bald guy that goes after John Wick after the adjudicator says, go, kill
It's implied that he's like the leader of like a Japanese kind of crime syndicate.
Yeah.
And he's a cat person, which I appreciate.
He is a cat person.
We needed more cat love in these movies.
Oh god, yeah, especially.
Yeah.
That's always the dogs. He's really good in this, and I love the absurdity of him just being a huge John Wick fan.
But also wanting nothing more than to put a sword through John Wick.
Pretty much, yeah. Like and again, it really does come back to that whole thing that you were mentioning earlier of it feeling like two hockey players going at it or two men in a bar.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, no matter how much... Because I think John Wick is making it a little more personal.
Yeah.
But...
Because John Wick is very clearly, like, not here for this shit.
No, he's not here for this shit. So, like, hearing someone go, man, I'm a huge fan of yours. I can't believe it's such an honor to fight you, you know?
Yeah.
Can you sign my sword?
Yeah.
Like, that might as well have happened.
Yeah.
Wish it did, actually. That would be great.
He had some really good lines near the end of his life.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But, again, like, just absurd moments like that are really great.
Mm-hmm.
So, now that we're done talking about that, let's talk about the serious stuff.
Let's talk about Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, because we forgot to talk about it in John
Wick 2. Lawrence, I did not know Lawrence Fishburne was going to be in these movies.
I fucking love Lawrence Fishburne in these movies. Like, he is doing his best Sam Jackson impression.
He totally is.
And he's fucking good at it, but holy... Because, like, I know Lawrence Fishburne mainly from The Matrix, and...
Oh my fucking god, I didn't make that connection till now.
You are fucking stupid, holy shit.
Fuck you!
No thanks!
We
already did!
Like, so little to do with The Matrix, beyond the fucking meta-narrative, and you're like, oh, you didn't make that fucking connection? Who gives a shit?
Let's talk about this,
okay.
So yeah,
wonderful man, Lawrence Fishburne.
Anyway, so yeah, Lawrence Fishburne is... Oh god, he's so fun in these movies.
Yeah.
But I mainly remember him from The Matrix, and I think he was in Apocalypse Now as well.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I don't remember that. I thought that was James Earl Jones.
Believe that.
Well, I haven't seen Apocalypse Now. Why am I chiming in?
Why the fuck have you not seen Apocalypse Now?
Because I have a life.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yep, he was in Apocalypse Now.
Oh well, shows me what I know.
But He was also in Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Christmas at Pee-wee's Playhouse as Cowboy Curtis.
Oh.
Anyway,
Lawrence Fishburne is a lot of fun in these movies.
Yes, Lawrence Fishburne is fantastic in these movies.
He is having a great time.
I love how he just plays a fucking crazy guy who has a shitload of pigeons.
Yeah.
But he's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, I've never been so engaged in a character that's basically just a fucking lunatic on Jasperev.
Although there is that one scene where, like, he's, like, holding the pigeon real tight, and I was just like, don't hurt the bird. Don't hurt the bird. Don't hurt the bird.
No. Lawrence Fishburne is good people.
Lawrence Fishburne is good to his birds.
Yes. God, also, I just remembered that Jason Mantzoukas is in this movie.
Who's Jason Mantzoukas?
He is in a bunch of, like, shitty comedies.
Mm-hmm.
He played one of the homeless henchmen of your boy Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh, okay.
This guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's in the movie. So Jason Mantzoukas just kind of shows up out of nowhere. And I honestly can't believe it. So he's also a co-host on the podcast How Did This Get Made?
Okay.
Which is a movie podcast. But basically they just cover shitty movies.
Okay.
And this is the second movie I've watched this week where, and I'm not even kidding, dear listeners, this is the second movie I've watched this week where at least one of the co-hosts of How Did This Get Made was in a fucking movie I saw in the theater.
Who's the other one?
The other two co-hosts were in fucking Longshot.
Oh, okay.
With Seth Rogen. Basically what I'm saying is I cannot fucking believe the coincidence it is for me to go see Longshot this week, and then a couple days later it's just like, yep, there's Jason Mantzoukas, and I saw the other two hosts in Longshot. Anyway, so as I was saying about John Wick Chapter 3, yeah, like Jason Mantzoukas just shows up. I thought he was going to be a lot more out of place than he was.
Yeah.
Like, considering he's very well known, even on How Did This Get Made, for just kind of being, like, the goofier one.
Yeah.
I think they utilized that incredibly well.
Yeah, I think so, too.
But again, I think this movie does lean a lot more on the goofier side, which is...
Well, it's welcome.
It's fine. It's very welcome.
Yeah. But
so very passive-aggressive saying that, but it's fine, it's fine.
It would have been one thing if it, like, went goofy, but also lost what makes John Wick great.
Exactly.
Which is the fact that it's got such a touching emotional core to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't. It remains that core, but it's just we get a closer look at this. Again, we get an even closer look at this society, which is still is absurd. Mm-hmm. But, like, it makes grounded. It has a sense of logic to it.
Yeah.
It's very grounded. It's something that... You know what it reminds me of?
What?
It reminds me of, not necessarily the movie, but the comic Wanted.
Oh.
The Mark Millar comic.
Yeah.
Comic. I should say I enjoy this way more than either the comic or the movie.
Even though the movie's better than the comic.
The movie's better than the comic.
So much better than the comic.
It's less goofy and also less edgy than that. But it reminded me of a better done version.
We talk about how this movie, even though it gets goofier, kind of brings in a new angle to look at this film, especially like from a spiritual angle this time.
Yes.
Like this made me reevaluate the entire trilogy in a more spiritual light.
Yeah. Which isn't to say that there haven't been religious overtones before, like when Santino tells John in the second movie, "You think you're Old Testament." Mm-hmm. But they take it up several notches in the third one.
Oh yeah, and it really made me kind of look at it more from that. So I have a very new interpretation on how to look at these films for children that involve murder, because I see this chapter being where he loses his faith. Mm-hmm. So let's say in chapter 1, because at this point he had left his faith. So let's say in part 1, he goes back to his old worship house, which would be the Continental, and he, in a time of grief, in a time of need, goes back to his old faith, which would be, going back to the Secret Society of Assassins and letting go of his grief through murder. Which is, I guess, practicing religion, sure.
Yeah,
this is absurd.
It's a strange analogy, but it does make sense. This is a strange
analogy. I promise you this is going to sound awful when we release it. I'm like, take this down!
See, this is why religion is literally murder!
But he goes back to his faith in a moment of grief and vulnerability and need. And in chapter 2, his faith is tested with the blood marker, which obviously they hold that very sacredly. Again, much like how the Continental is a sacred temple of, I guess, worship, for lack of a better word, where you can't do business on it. Again,
or
much
meditation,
like
too.
Yeah, a sacred place of meditation where, you know what, let's call it that. A sacred place of meditation where you can't do business on, just like, again, like you'd mentioned, the Sabbath. You know, they take the blood markers in this very, very, very seriously.
Yeah.
As in a very spiritual way of, like, if you don't uphold this end of the bargain, you're practically committing sin. And... again, in part 2, he commits the cardinal sin of killing on continental grounds, which basically means that his faith has turned around and abandoned him.
Yeah.
And in part 3, he is seen as, I guess, a heathen?
Yeah, he's cast out by the church.
He is cast out by the church at this point. He is seen as nothing more than a heretic, and he, by the end of this one, spoiler alert, goes against his faith with Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah. You know what I thought when I watched the movie, and I just remembered it now. It reminded me a lot of Lucifer being cast out of heaven, and the Satan's rebellion against God.
Oh yeah,
that's I don't know if that analogy necessarily tracks 100%, but it reminded me of that.
No, and I wouldn't be shocked if that's what was going through their mind when they were writing this.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they must have had some religious allegory in their mind, because even like in terms of how the people who are responsible for helping John Wick, how they are punished. Yeah. Their punishments have a lot of biblical allegory to them.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like, the Belarusian woman who, it's just that she raised John Wick and grants him an escape to Morocco. She is made to say, "I have served, I will serve." Yeah. Makes a prayer motion with her hands and is stabbed through the hands, which is a Christ allegory. Yeah. That's because Jesus was nailed to the cross through his hands. And
I also noticed that line is said a lot throughout the movie too.
Yeah, that's what's said when they pledge fealty to the high table, i.e. the church. Yes. And John uses a rosary bead and a cross
as a ticket.
As a ticket to get out.
Basically, that just feels like what would you call that?
I'm not sure what I would call that necessarily. Yeah. It serves a similar purpose to the marker, I think. Where it's something that is very clearly thought highly of, and we're not sure if it's necessarily, because then afterwards he gets branded with a cross. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure where the analogy leads to.
Well, did you notice that the cross was upside down?
Was it?
Yes, it was.
Ooh, very interesting.
Yeah, I actually just thought about that now. Like when they brand him with the cross, it's upside down. So is that some sort of marker that this is Lucifer getting cast out of heaven and rebelling against God? Yeah. Is that what chapter 4 is going to be?
Could be. Fun fact. The upside down cross was not originally a symbol of Lucifer or Satan. It was originally a symbol of, I believe, St. Paul or St. Peter. Because their symbol was an upside down cross. Yeah. But I don't know how necessarily, but it got co-opted to mean heresy. Yeah. Or Satanism.
And John Wick is often seen throughout this entire movie as a heretic. Because of what he did. So yeah, I think my fan theory, if you want to call it that, I'm calling it a fan theory, guys, because I don't want to say that this is a good interpretation, because I'm a fucking idiot.
But hey, that's just a theory.
A film
theory.
What's so for Harambe?
God, we're awful.
Is there anything else you want to talk about with John Wick 3? Is there anything else we can really cover? I mean, Ian McShane has a much bigger role in this. He's great in it once again.
Yeah. I want to talk about the ending a little bit.
Absolutely. Let's talk about how it sets up. Because I've heard some people have, not mixed, but some people are like, it didn't really stick the landing.
I like the ending. I have a few quibbles with it.
Oh, so do I. I have a few quibbles with it too, but it didn't completely stick the landing, but I think it did a really solid job.
Yeah. So, so the ending during the climactic fight at the Continental, there's a lot of neon shit, which is a staple of it has a very neo-noir aesthetic, the three movies.
Yeah, think Blade Runner with more violence.
Yeah, exactly.
And sex.
Yeah. Well, no.
Made you think about it, though.
Well, yeah. Not a huge accomplishment, though, is it? But
I made you think for a change. That's a huge accomplishment.
That's a very big accomplishment. Pack it in, folks. We're not.
We finally canceled.
We're not topping that.
It's over.
So there's a lot of neon shit in the fight at the Continental, and part of it it's like flickering on and off, and that was really fucking annoying to me.
Yeah.
Because I hate that shit. I hate it when it flickers too much and it's annoying. Like, I get why they did it, and it's not going to bother everybody, but it really bothered me.
I could see it really bothering people who are...
Epileptic? Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure they're not going to have a great time with it either.
Oh, they're probably going to fucking hate every second of that.
Also with the ending, like, I think they left it a bit too unclear, like, what exactly Ian McShane did. Like, whether that would... I know, because my thought was that he shot him intentionally in, like, the Kevlar lining of the suit, so that he wouldn't kill John Wick. But then John Wick does seem to take it as, like, a personal affront, because he goes to Lawrence Fishburne after that.
Well, he's taken to Lawrence Fishburne.
He's taken to Lawrence.
He doesn't go there at will.
You're right.
Like, he's taken there by Jason Mantzoukas.
But it's implied that he and Lawrence Fishburne are gonna rebel against not just the High Table, but also Winston.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that necessarily tracks for me.
Yeah, like, because that's the thing. I'm with you where I don't know what Winston's intentions were. I think they were good. I think Winston knew that John Wick was going to survive the fall.
Yeah.
But I don't know if John Wick took it that... Like, it gets really muddled towards the end.
Yeah.
Like, who exactly John Wick's going to go after.
Yeah. And this is another very minor point. I think my last point was my only major complaint in the entire series, actually. But this is another minor complaint I have, is that this ending is very much more, like, set up for sequels. Whereas part 2, yes, it was that, but it also could have very much been an end that stood on its own. Whereas this is like, yeah, this ending doesn't really work if you don't have a sequel.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and
we are going to get it. I'm glad we're going to get it.
I honestly... Well, I mean, considering it just kicked Avengers' ass this weekend, it's definitely going to get a fucking sequel, and bring it the fuck on.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can, I guess, lead into the rest of the future of the franchise from here on out. But, like, yeah, this is a rare exception where I tend to have a very jaded outlook at franchises in general because they are a product of late-stage capitalism. But John Wick is just a compelling story.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Like...
It's not a money-making vehicle because these movies make money, but they don't make that much money.
They don't make that much money, but they make enough money to justify the existence of this franchise.
Yeah, and it's a compelling story. At least the first two, you could have ended them there, and it would have been fine. But, like, I guess, again, it goes back to, it kind of reminds me of a comic book where, like, each one could be like a volume or an arc that ends, and we just kind of keep getting add-ons to the same story. And I'm so here for it. It's because it's compelling. Keanu Reeves is great on it. Keanu Reeves has said he's going to keep doing it if people keep going to it. So don't, for the love of fucking God, keep going to fucking John Wick movies.
Yeah, go. Stop seeing Avengers. Go see John Wick.
You've seen Avengers like 80 times. Like, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Who gives a shit anymore?
No,
it's over.
Who cares if it makes more money than Avatar? Like, it's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't fucking matter. It's the second highest grossing movie of all time, and Disney owns Avatar now. So fucking who cares?
Yeah, who gives a shit? Stop pledging your fealty to one arm of a corporate octopus.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but I do agree with you. Like, the ending is really muddled, but I still was mostly on board with it. Again, on a thematic level, I think the ending is fantastic because it solidifies a lot of my theories about, like, the religious angle and stuff like that. And I think on a thematic level, that's really awesome and really nifty. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, I mean, ultimately, little things like that don't have to completely make sense.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they will wrap it up nicely in 4. However, if there's one... Oh, we'll talk about the future of the franchise later, because I do have my opinions on this. Yeah. I recommend John Wick 1, 2, and 3.
I give each of these movies a thumbs up. And
I can't believe I'm doing this. This is the first time in the history of Sequel Decay where I've given every movie in the series a wholehearted, like, you need to go see these not now but yesterday if you haven't recommendation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think these like, collectively are the best like, in an episode-wise, these are the best. These are the best movies we've done on Sequel Decay.
These are the best movies we've done on Sequel Decay because I have nothing but good things to say about them. Mm-hmm. Like, there's little quibbles here and there, but who fucking gives a shit at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Like, I can't even pick a favorite out of the 3.
I think the first one is my favorite.
There's some days where I go, it's the first one.
It's either the first or second one.
And then there's some days where I'm like, it's the second one, but fuck, the third one was so good.
They're all so good.
They're all so fucking good. And like, minor quibbles at the end of 3 aside, because they didn't completely stick the landing. Who fucking cares? They're doing better than Game of Thrones right now.
Why do we keep coming back to this?
Please make this a running gag, this episode.
2 more hours. 2 more hours until I can Well, 3 more hours, I guess, because this episode is going to take 3 hours to fucking end. Because God knows they couldn't just fucking make another season. They had to fit it all in 6 because D&D had to fucking go off to ruin Star Wars next, and they were really in a rush to do that. Anyway,
did you know that David Benioff co-wrote X-Men Origins Wolverine?
Well, I mean, I know now.
Why the fuck did you idiots think that the guy who co-wrote X-Men Origins Wolverine was going to stick the landing?
I don't know, because he was basing it on source material that was written by George R.R. fucking Martin.
Remember when we said we weren't going to swear this episode?
Yeah, I was very much under the impression we were not being serious. Were you being serious?
So, obviously, we're getting John Wick 4.
Yes.
If we don't get John Wick 4... I blame all you fucking Marvel assholes who just wanted to see Avengers Endgame beat Avatar. Go fuck yourselves. There's other movies out right now.
Yeah.
Go fucking see John Wick. Take your fucking small children to go see John Wick. They'll love it.
Take your dog.
Yeah, take your dog.
Take your infant daughter. Do it.
This movie, take your dogs to go see John Wick. You said take your dogs or take your daughter?
Both?
Take
them all.
Fuck it.
Do it. Take
your dogs, because like this to dogs is like Wonder Woman to little girls. Or Ghostbuster 2016 to little
Oh my fucking god! Oh shit. I kind of want to keep that in.
We'll do it.
John Wick 4 is definitely going to happen, I think, because
Good.
it's making good money. Just because, thank God, it's coming at like the end of Endgame, like murdering the box office, I think.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, that was a really smart time to release the movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, clearly John Wick 4 is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly we know where it's going to go if you've seen John Wick 3.
Yeah.
I think John Wick 4 is still going to be awesome. I really just want a sequel so bad.
I hope they keep it up with a religious allegory.
Oh, absolutely. I really hope they keep it up with the religious allegory. I also hope this is the last one.
I don't know if I hope it's the last one. If this is the last one, then yeah, I hope they fucking nail it. But
I hope this is the last one, not because I'm sick of this franchise. I hope this is the last one because I want them to end it on a high note while they're still on top.
Yeah. Okay, I get that.
And I think they've set themselves up for a perfect concluding film. That, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that this is where, if the fourth one's where the franchise ends, you know, they've set themselves up for a really good conclusion.
Yeah, I would be down with that.
Also, another thing I'm really surprised about, besides this film getting sequels, is the fact that this movie got parodied.
Really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. For those of you who don't remember or don't know, Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele, who had the sketch comedy show Key and Peele and were also on Mad TV, made a movie called Keanu, which is basically about two Joe Blows who end up having to infiltrate drug lords to save their cat, which is essentially a parody of the first John Wick movie. And I honestly can't believe it. I just can't believe how much this movie hit the pop culture zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Like, it blows my mind how effective it was, and I think a lot of it was thanks to word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Because I also remember the movie coming out with, like, little to no fanfare, besides, like, the critics really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And we heard nothing else until people started going, this is really fucking good.
Yeah.
Y'all need to go see this. And we all ended up seeing it. It's like, this is great.
Yeah. I remember hearing about it in the first one in high school. And well, Keanu Reeves was just in that fucking awful 47 Ronin movie. At that point. And it's like, well, now he's just going to be in this fucking B-movie action movie. Okay, who gives a shit?
Mm-hmm.
But then it goes like, yeah, John Wick's really fucking good. No way, really?
Yeah.
And then I went to it myself, it's like, oh my god.
I didn't see it in theaters. I never saw the first two in theaters. I saw the first one on Blu-ray and the second one on Blu-ray. I never got to see the second one in theaters, but I really wanted to. Mm-hmm. It was just because I was really busy.
Yeah,
but
same.
the first one I just waited for home video. I've never regretted a decision so much in my life.
It would have been such a treat to watch.
Oh my god, I can only imagine. And like, it's so... Oh god, these movies are so good.
If you're a fan of like not dumb action, but like just good action movies, like in the vein of The Raid or something like that.
I wouldn't even go so far as to say this is a great action movie. I would just say these are great movies.
Yeah, but I'm saying especially if you are an action movie fan and you have not seen John Wick, you are doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah. If you haven't seen John Wick by now, where the fuck have you been? Go watch John Wick. If action movies aren't really your thing, I'd still highly recommend these movies.
Yeah, just at least give the first one a shot.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't like it, fair play. But, like, it's the perfect combination of wish fulfillment and a tragic personal story about a tortured soul.
And incredible world building.
Yeah, incredible world building.
Like, I'd say the best world building this decade.
It's among the best. Absolutely. Because it's not based on any pre-existing material.
No, it
doesn't have the Marvel crutch to lean on.
It doesn't have the George R. R. Martin crutch to lean on.
Don't do it.
Someone getting triggered.
Don't do it. Finish what you were gonna say.
Anyway, or the George R. R. Martin lean, or like with the DC characters, the same thing. Like, they don't have a prior existing intellectual property to lean on.
Yeah.
They're literally just making it up as... Well, probably not. They're meticulously planning it, but for lack of a better phrase, they're making it up as they go.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
It's so good. And
so creative.
Yeah.
Like, it's so nice to see an action franchise that's actually creative and unique and interesting.
And the people involved care about it.
And they genuinely care, and like everything is so well constructed. It's nice to watch a good movie again.
Yeah.
What are we doing next week again?
Well, Chris, we're going to end up doing...
Oh, like the Roland Emmerich one? God damn it! Tune in next week to watch me fucking kill myself, I guess. Jesus.
It's alright, Chris. We'll find a way out of this basement, yeah.
Oh my god. Like, can we just take the stack and just turn it into a stool or something so we can get out of this fucking shithole?
Alright. Well, do your sign out. Let's wrap it up.
Alright, so I guess you know what we're watching next week. Fuck.
Yep. Well, you know now, folks. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm assuming that was enough of a hint.
Yeah.
That we're doing at least one episode on that franchise.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least.
Yeah, for sure at least one. Okay, fuck, we're doing two.
Shit.
We're doing two, but we're not spending 2 whole episodes on the Roland Emmerich one.
No, thank God.
Thank God.
Alright, well, we'll leave you guys with that one.
Great. Just like in John Wick, enough mystery to keep you guys guessing, but you probably know what we're talking about anyway.
And because we have not learned from our mistakes, Brandon Pollock is definitely returning.
That's it for the show. Tune in next week where we watch us all fucking suffer in pain and agony.
Yeah,
we will record a commentary track for it. Fuck it.
We will also include a bad Japanese dub. See ya!
Please tell me it's Mickey Rooney doing the Japanese dub from Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Good lord, no.